the woman in the trunk of their car. The old sheikh was not pleased that two Christians were present, but the Englishman was needed because he would do the taping. Also, he was the one who had tracked down the woman. It was said that he found many others like this one and grew rich from the bounties he had been paid. The sheikh knew nothing about the American, only that he was a friend of Bandari, the accuser, and wanted to see the adulteress punished. Very well, he could stay, but he would have to watch from the car. The sheikh gave the signal for the woman to be brought out. She was dressed head to toe in a black abaya. A mask, called a burqa, covered all but her eyes. A single length of cord bound her arms to her sides, and it coiled very tightly from her shoulders to her hips. The old sheikh frowned when he saw this. To bind her so was immodest. The cord should have been tied beneath the abaya so that the garment could hang freely and conceal what it should. This way, it revealed the shape of her body and caused her breasts to thrust forward. Although most of the men kept their eyes on the ground, a few were already stealing looks at her bosom. These were the same ones who wanted her lashed, first her back and then her bare breasts. But the sin, the sheikh decided, was hers and not theirs. It was she, the adulteress, who put lust in their hearts. He urged the men to quicken their pace so that her body all the sooner would be hidden from them. In any case, dawn would soon be upon them. This had to be finished before morning prayer. A burst of brilliant light caused the woman to falter and the men to raise their hands to their eyes. A few of the men held back for a moment because they knew that the lights meant the camera was running. Not all were so happy about being on tape. Some had argued that they should cover their faces because stoning had been outlawed for several years now. They could end up in Cairo's Kanata prison, and how would their families survive if they did? But the sheikh would not permit them to cover their faces. God's work, he had said, should be done in the open. Now the woman could see the hole that had been dug, and her chest began heaving in fear. Her burqa blew out with each breath she exhaled and sucked back with each new breath she drew. She tried to resist by bracing one heel, but she could find no footing in the hard-packed earth. Her shoes had already been taken from her, and she wore only black cotton stockings. Next, she fought them. She refused to walk. She twisted away from the men who were escorting her and threw herself to the ground. They saw that they would have to carry her. Two men picked her up, taking care to touch only her forearms and elbows, and not to touch any bare skin. A third looped a cord around her legs, being careful not to bare them, not even with stockings, fastening them together at a point below her knees. Holding fast to the cord, he pulled her legs up behind her. In this manner they carried her to the edge of the hole and lowered her body into it. The two held her steady as the third used the shovel to pack dirt and rock into the spaces around her. A man being stoned is buried to his waist. A woman must be buried to her chest, and this was done. But the shape of her breasts showed even more clearly now because the dirt was pushing them up. The sheikh gestured to the man with the shovel. He wanted the dirt piled higher. As this too was done, the woman's eyes darted from the face of one man to the next. They knew that she was searching for the face of her accuser. At last, she squinted into the lights and made a sound like the hiss of a cat. She called out the name of Gamal Bandari. "Gamal!" she shouted. It was more like a croak. She swallowed hard and called again, this time more clearly. "Gamal! For God's sake, don't do this!" When no answer came from behind the lights, she turned to the men of Abu Shat. "I swear before God I am innocent," she cried. "Don't you see what that murdering bastard is doing? He's using you. He's using Islam. He's—" Her bad language brought gasps, but from some it brought sneers, because they knew that this adulteress, not Bandari, was the murderer. A young man named Mahfouz strode into the pit. He was one of the four who gave evidence against her, but the only one born in this village. He bent and struck her with the back of his hand. The blow silenced her, but it tore off her burqa. Mahfouz wiped the hand against the sleeve of his robe, as if to show that merely touching her had made it unclean. It was bad enough to touch a woman not of his family, but worse to touch one who soon would be in hell. The sheikh was speaking. He was quoting from the law. It was hard to hear.